Welcome to episode 185 of Missing Pieces. This is my weekly audio journal podcast where I talk about what I'm up to and what I'm into. And apparently this week we were into getting sick. Well, everyone except for me at least, because Cody and Clark, man, last weekend, they both came home sick from school. Luckily for me, I'm in my own little bubble, in my own little world here, so I'm excluded from all of those germs that are out in the world, but they're both in school, which is quite possibly the worst place you can be outside of a hospital in terms of catching germs and things like that. And as a result, they were both feeling not so great last weekend. In fact, we had a 4-day weekend together. Luckily, Tuesday, Clark Man had off, so he was off that day automatically, but he ended up taking Monday off. Cody took Monday off and a half day on Tuesday, so she went in for a teacher and service day. So we had a little bit of a longer weekend, and we filled that with lots of stuff, which I'll talk about here in this episode, but I should say, I might just be late to the game with getting sick. I said everyone except for me. Right now, my throat, I don't know if it's the placebo effect, maybe just me thinking about it, but I'm feeling a little bit of scratchiness in my throat, which is not a great thing to have when you're about ready to sit down and record your weekly podcast, but I think we'll get through it through the powers of you guys that are tuning in. Thank you for joining me on this journey in my week. So let's talk about last weekend. We ended up all kind of doing our own thing a little bit in terms of watch-a-tecting because, it's like we're sick, or at least those guys weren't. It's like, what are we going to do? Of course, Mrs. Brickitect, or Cody as she's known in some circles, she has all these shows on Netflix that she likes watching. It's like all these, dare I say, women's/girls shows that Clark and I really aren't into. So I ended up watching, kind of continuing at least, Better Call Saul. It's a show that's a follow-up, or actually like a prequel, if you will, to Breaking Bad. And I'm really enjoying the series. I cranked out a whole bunch of it before, but then I ran out of seasons that were available on Netflix, and then they're available now. So I'm almost finished with season 5. I have the finale left to watch, and then I have season 6, and that's it. So I'm hoping to clear that off my list, scratch that one off, and then keep moving on to new things that I can watch and hopefully share and review here with you. But Better Call Saul, I guess I'll save it for the very end. I'll tell you all about it. Most people, if you're interested in Breaking Bad, you probably know who Saul Goodman is. But if you don't know who Saul Goodman is, watch Breaking Bad first, because in my opinion, that show is way better, and Walter White as a character is super interesting, and that show it's good from start to finish, and it's very rare that a show is like that. It's also little more adult, so if you're a kid, maybe skip that one, or if you have kids, definitely don't watch that with them. Wait until everyone's sick, and then you're all kind of doing your own thing, sitting in the recliner with your blankie and your iPad. That's my Greg's life advice of the week. But yeah, I'll report back. Hopefully, let's see, I've got one season. I don't know if I'll get that all done in 1 week or not, but I'll report back on how I feel the whole show went. And I'm very curious because it actually goes into it's kind of set in the past, then it goes into the present, which is the future of the show, if that makes sense. And I'm excited to see how these things tie together. And I think that's going to happen in the final season. So I shall report back. We also did some gaming though this week, of course. Clark Man ended up getting back into Fortnite. We've been getting a lot of requests and people suggesting that we play Fortnite again. The OG Fortnite season is back, which to us really isn't anything there's no sentimental attachment to it because we didn't get into Fortnite until season 5 or 6, whichever is the one where they have the giant island that was up at the top. That's when I got into playing, and you could float up there and do stuff and then come back down. I love that. That was probably my favorite Fortniting that I've ever done. That and the Marvel season, because I was just so dedicated to getting all of the Marvel skins, and it was a time when all my friends were playing too, and we were just all in, and I love that. Clark ended up playing several matches of that, did pretty good. In fact, one time he actually got a win, and I got a video of that, just kind of handheld recording, very janky style, but I ended up making a little video for him that he put out on his channel that was released today, which is Friday for me. And if you're wondering when I'm recording this, it's Friday, November 10th, Veterans Day here in the United States at 1:19 p.m. I have no idea how it's so late in the day, but I guess time flies when you're having fun. There's a mellow cat walking by my window, which is always nice to see. And the sun is coming out right now. What a perfect time to record a podcast as my room gets illuminated. Anyways, Clark did Fortniting. He also, what else? Oh my gosh. Parkitect. If you don't know what Parkitect is, no, they didn't steal a copyright claim from me or whatever. Parkitect is like a theme park simulator game. Think of Roller Coaster Tycoon, but it's like a whole theme park that you can design the layout, you put rides in, you decide the prices, you can do anything and everything in this game. And Clark has become obsessed with it. In fact, he is so into it that I think he knows more about the game and is probably better at it than I am. Like, he's looking at his admission numbers and seeing how many people are in the park, what their reviews are. He's hiring employees. He's changing the prices accordingly, putting in new rides that he thinks people will like. And it's awesome to see him play this. Like, to see a dude go from playing the simplest of games, and Minecraft I'd consider to be pretty easy to start out. Like, he started playing that when he was 4. And speaking of that, we checked the hour count on the PlayStation. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week or not, but I got a photo of it. And according to PlayStation, Clark has 480 hours into Minecraft. And I think that's just the PlayStation version. He's also played this on Xbox, variety of Xboxes. He's played it on PC. He's played it on Nintendo Switch. So yeah, he's definitely well over 500 hours into Minecraft, but it's cool to see him. Nothing against Minecraft. I think it's a great game, and it can be complicated. It's cool to see him go into these kind of simulation style PC games where he's reading and making decisions. Like I said, he's doing all the pricing and stuff. It's just really fun to see, and we're sitting here kind of going back and forth on ooh, should we raise the price of the Ferris wheel by $1 because your line's pretty long and people are saying it's a good deal? What about concessions? Are you going to charge $4 for a hamburger, or are you going to make it really cheap and have lots of people buying hamburgers and then also buying merch? It's so fun. I'm really glad that I got that game back in the day, and we played a good bit of it. In fact, he was playing that while I was playing a game that I'm kind of obsessed with called Gran Turismo 7, a game that I've had for a while, and I love so much because I have a racing steering wheel and a shifter and pedal set, and that just changes the whole vibe of a racing for me, and to the point where I don't know if I could ever go back to racing just with a controller in your hand. It feels so not immersive, you know? And I'm still really, really contemplating getting a racing cockpit and getting it set up back there by Parkitect, because I've got a big TV in the wall. You can see the TV right there. If I just took that off the wall and moved it down and then had my racing cockpit back there that I kind of slid against the wall when I'm not using it, it could be the greatest thing ever. I'm considering it almost like an arcade cabinet. I do have one arcade cabinet right here, and I was thinking about if I can get a good deal on the Mortal Kombat one. I was thinking about getting that for Black Friday or Christmas if there's a great deal that comes up. But I'm thinking what would I enjoy more? I think I would do a lot of racing. I just hope it's not one of those things it sounds awesome and then you do it a little bit, then it just sits forever. But I think if I had a full racing cockpit, instead of right now, right beside me, I sit in a regular chair at a desk. My steering wheel is mounted to the desk, and then I've got the pedals below it. And while it works, it doesn't feel authentic. This isn't the seating position when you're in a car. You're kind of sitting back a little bit, and your legs are kind of straight out. And it's dude, it's something that I've always wanted, and I dream about it. So I'm contemplating. I'm looking at the prices. I'm trying to figure out what the logistics of it would be. I would probably it would be more expensive than I'm estimating, I think, because the cockpit itself is probably $500. Some people just spit out their drinks, but that's not the worst of it. I would probably also need to get another PlayStation because we play the PS5 over here and that would be over there. So it's either I carry it back and forth whenever I'm doing one thing or the other, or I get another one. So there's another $500 or $400 if I get the digital version. Again, just something that I'm kind of dreaming about, I think last week I talked about my dream of having a fantasy factory of sorts where I'd have all the things in it that I ever want, ping pong tables and a giant Lego city and trains and RC stuff and skeet ball and all kinds of things. I would definitely have a racing simulator in there as well. But maybe I can make it happen. So let's set a goal. I'm selling a bunch of stuff on eBay, which I should say, this is later on the list, but we'll check it off now. eBay's still going pretty well. I've been going to the post office consistently every day. In fact, today I've got 3 items to send out, including one camera lens that is going to Guam. I did not realize that Guam was a part of the U.S., but they have a post office box, and I had to do a customs form, which is a giant pain in the butt, and that's why I don't do international shipping or anything. And although eBay did sign me up automatically on my Lego accounts to ship internationally. And I think the way that it works, from what people have said, is when someone, say in London, buys a Lego set for me for whatever reason, I would ship it to eBay, whatever their address is, and then eBay would handle it from there, which is kind of cool because it opens you up to it. And you don't have, as a seller, you don't have to deal with all the nonsense of doing the shipping and all that. But yeah, this one went to the US apparently. It was just kind of a pain. I was trying to do it on my mobile app. I'm like, why can't I buy the postage on this? Like, why can I do this? So I went to my laptop and I was like, oh, there was all this like custom stuff on there that I had to then make sure it was legit and then print out. So that was interesting. I did not see that coming. But eBay's been going well. I have all of the money going into a Robinhood spending account, and I'm not touching it unless I'm using it for things that I want to buy, like Lego stuff, or if I want to get camera equipment or anything like that. So that's been the plan, is to clear out things that I'm not using, that's not serving me, that I don't find value in, and then giving it to people that do, and then using the funds that they paid me for that to rebuy things that I do find value in, and just, I guess, constantly rotate. And it makes a lot more sense in my mind than having something that I'm no longer going to use and putting it into storage. Like that's not the way anymore for me. So anything and everything that's in the storage room, I'm looking and analyzing and being like, is that going on eBay? And oftentimes the answer is yes. So I've been posting, I've been listing, I've been selling, and I've been mailing, and it feels pretty darn good. Where were we though on the list though? Because we were talking about my dreams, I guess, of, is that what we're talking about? I remember talking about my fantasy idea of having a driving simulator. I guess I was just saying, like, maybe we could use the funds from all my sales and things to go towards that. I think that would be a cool thing to do, because then it's not like, it's not an impulse purchase. It's something you have to think about. And it's something that it's like, well, okay, I had to sell like 30 items to get this racing cockpit thing, which, if you don't know what that is, basically it's just like a metal setup where you can put the pedals, like you can mount them to it, or you can mount the shifter beside you, so it'd actually be beside you instead of on the table, and then you can mount the steering wheel, and there's like a racing seat that you can actually sit in. It's pretty darn cool. But I think that'd be like a neat thing. Like, it's something fun to work towards, you know? It's like, okay, I'm going to sell this old camera that I've had for 5 years. And if I could sell this camera and get this racing thing that I would hopefully enjoy a lot more than a camera and a camera bag in my storage room, big wins. Now, someday if I need to sell the racing cockpit, that could get a little complicated, even though, you know, maybe locally. But yeah, I'm just kind of, I guess, trading. I'm doing like a very indirect trading system, barter system, if you will. And I've been enjoying it. It's one of my like hobbies now. I love packaging stuff. I love making sales. I love listing. I love every part of the eBay thing. And I've already determined, like, next year when I go out yard sailing, I'm going to try to buy even more stuff, because like I've learned that if you can get something for a quarter, $1, $2, $5, like, that's high end yard sale stuff. You can't lose. If there's some type of market for it on eBay, if I buy something for 25 cents and I sell it for $3, dude, that's instant money. You know, I just throw that in a box, put it in the mail, they pay for shipping. Why not, right? And oftentimes I'm making much bigger returns than that, like 50 cents for a plushie that I sell for $15. Like, that's the kind of moves that I'm trying to make. So anything with tags, anything that's new, like, I don't know much about like a lot of antiques or used items, but I know like some value when I see it, and I made out pretty darn well this year. A lot of the yard sale stuff's like already gone, but which is good, because we are like, right now we're in November and we're at the halfway point until yard sale season starts up again, which is just wild to think about. Like, it starts in like the end of April. So like 5 months from now, and it's been like 5 months since it started. So dang, right? Or was it even more? No, it's been like 5-6 months since it started. This year we really extended out, and I plan to do that even more. Like, I'm going to be yard sailing machine, just because I love, dude, every part of it. Like, I can't stress this enough. I love going on the hunt. I love going out with my mother and father-in-law, doing all that. It's so much fun. I love making videos about my yard sale expeditions, and people seem to enjoy them as well. So like, I'm winning on that front. I'm winning on the fact that I'm always finding really cool stuff. I can post on eBay. I'm winning when I get the sales. Like, every part of this just like tickles my brain in all the right spots. So yeah, reseller Greg will continue to be found in 2024. I can guarantee you that. Speaking of yard sale stuff, that was another thing we did during the week of sickness. Clark and I went a little crazy over the weekend, going through all these Lego Friends sets that Bud and Deb, my mother and father-in-law, as they're known in some circles, that they, are you guys getting tired of that? That they found for me. And I can't remember what they paid for it, but there was just a ton of friend sets. And Clark and I they were all kind of built, and we started pulling them out and getting all the mini dolls together with it and random pieces that were kind of in the bins, putting them all with the sets. And it turns out like most of these were all complete. And it was awesome, like putting them all on the table and like having this whole layout. We almost have like a Lego Friends City right now, much to everyone's despair. And what I found out though, unfortunately, is that these sets really are almost worthless. Like not worthless, but if you bought a Friends set in 2012 for $40, today it's probably worth like $10. And that's like the opposite of what I usually experience with Lego. Like usually once Lego retires, at least the stuff that I typically collect, like it's worth more later, right? Even if it's been open, it's like, oh crap, I missed out on this Star Wars set, so I'm going to try to go get it now. Great. I got to pay 3 times what it was worth originally. That's fun. But I guess it just depends on the theme and what you're collecting. And like I said, with yard sale pricing, you can't lose on these. Even if I sell one thing for $10 that was once worth $30, that might be what they paid for all of the sets for all I know. And I'm pretty sure that this person that owned this, I'm assuming that it was a younger girl. You can tell by the years of this, like the sets, they're from 2012 to 2014 primarily, with one 2015 set. So what I think happened was she got into Lego, like most kids do at some point, was pretty into it for a couple years, and then by, 2-3 years later, she's moved on to the next thing. So these people sat on these sets for the last 8 years, and now they're just like, all right, let's get these out of the house, put them in the yard sale, get them out of here. And that's what they did, and they sold them at a huge discount to my mother and father-in-law, who then gave them to me. I have to go back. I'm sure I recorded the video where I think I remember it, because I was recording with one of my DJI action cameras when Pat brought it over, and he probably said what the price was of all those. I should go back into the archives. There's probably a viewer that knows what it is. And I should tell this story. It happened on Parkitect. I don't know if it happened before or after. I think it happened after last week's podcast. This is awesome. This is like the power of having an online community. Clark and I built this Lego Disney set that we had started before when we were on vacation, and I just had not finished. And we were finishing up last Friday night. And this is how I know it was after I recorded this podcast. You don't know. Well, you may know about this if you follow my Lego channel, but if you're just a podcast enthusiast, you don't know. I'm trying to keep it straight where I do all these things because things happen all over the place. But we built this set, and I was missing this sail that went on Peter Pan's boat. It's like almost like a part of a train. It's like a float almost, if you imagine what a parade float looks like. And I had no idea where it was. I assumed that I accidentally threw it away because I didn't bring the box home with me when we were traveling. It was just too big. And I was like, crap, I threw that away. That's really a bummer. So we made the video and I mentioned that. And when you know it, in the comments section, someone said, you have the sale. It was in one of your live streams at this timestamp titled this. This is the title of the stream. This is the timestamp. You can see it right there. And you mentioned not knowing why you had it there or what it was to. And I was like, oh my gosh, they are so right. So I went over to the box that set was in. It was the pirate set. And I thought maybe it came with the pirate set because it was like a pirate flag. And there it was in the box. So a Bricktech viewer saved me. I was going to have to go on to Bricklink and end up buying that. And they saved me from having to do that. So it's awesome to have people in this world that know more about you and your life and your Lego collection than you do. But yeah, it was just one of those wild moments where you realize the power of having like a fan base or a community that's joining you on your stuff. Like how much help can you get from people? And that was just someone that had this memory, and they're just like, hey, I remember that. I knew I saw that, and it happened. And all it takes is one person, that's all it was. So I was very stoked about that. But I was also stoked to get those friend sets together. The plan for the friend sets, I'm going to keep a few of them because there's some that I actually really like. There's a couple that one's a duplicate, so I'm going to sell that. There's 2 sets that my buddy Julian reached out, and he said, would I be willing to sell them to him for his daughter who's getting into Lego Friends? And I told him I'm just going to send him to him. He's like, can I pay you for shipping? I said, no, Julian. If you don't know Julian, he's also known as King Julius in some circles. He's been a supporter for a long time. In fact, he sent us, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, it's down too low behind those boxes. He sent us the Lego Technic Ford F-150 Raptor a long time ago. And he's just a super classy dude. So it's like the least I can do to send it to him. And it just makes me happy to know that they're going to go somewhere where they're going to get enjoyed. Because with us, they were either going to go on eBay, which again, hopefully the case there, but otherwise they were just going to get kind of broken down. And that was going to be kind of what I was leaning towards, because these sets just aren't worth enough to, like, the parts are worth more than what the sets sell for in my mind in terms of collecting. They were just going to go get broken down and go in my storage room. And it's like, would I rather have them sit in my storage room or have Julian's daughter playing with them? Answers, it's easy. I think we all know the right answer there. So Julian's daughter is going to be enjoying some Lego Friends. She likes the horse sets, which seems to be the case with younger girls, because those sets tend to be the most valuable. You got to have horses in your Lego Friends set. So if you're ever thinking about making a product for girls, particularly brick built ones, make sure they have horses in them. That's the only advice that I have. I do think about the alternate timeline where maybe Clarkman was a girl, and I was thinking how hardcore we would be probably on Lego Friends and Barbies and stuff. And I would be all in, man. Like, I'd have no problems with collecting that kind of stuff, because my history has just always been whatever Clark's into, I'm into. And it's been pretty fun to share that. Luckily, our interests are kind of like overlapped. That being said, I probably would have never collected like Thomas trains, but he was into Thomas, and like it got me into Thomas, and I have no regrets on that. In fact, I would love to kind of get back into trains again. Not necessarily like the Trackmaster stuff, but like some like model trains. I just worry about like the space that it would take and how that would go. But I'm thinking we're going to do a Lego train setup, because that would be like perfect and right up our alley. So that's my big plan, especially considering the table's cleared. All that's on there is the friend sets, which I'm going to break those ones down for Julian this weekend, get those out to him, break down the other ones, clean them up a little bit, put some on eBay. And that's the end of it, right? And then we use that money for something in the future. Like, I guess we'll continue with Lego, like advent calendars. We started advent calendar season already. You might be thinking, Greg, what are you doing? It doesn't start till December 1st. No, we have the Star Wars and City Lego advent calendars that are set up for December 1st. But I talked to Clark, man. We came up with this brilliant idea that, and I think we did this once before when we first started getting advent calendars in Star Wars. I was like, let's get last year's Star Wars advent calendar and let's do it in November. That way we have a November and then December to do advent calendars. And it was fun. And I'm replicating that this year, only I did it with Harry Potter. We have the City and the Star Wars one for December. I wasn't even going to get the Harry Potter, but it was on sale. And I was like, that might be fun to do in November. So we started it this morning, actually. And we ended up opening 4 days, because I did the math on it. And I figured out that if we did 4 days today, which is the 10th, we'll actually run this all the way up until the 24th day of the calendar, which should be Christmas Eve. But in our case, will be November 30th will be our last Harry Potter opening. And then we go right into City and Star Wars. And Clark we've reached a compromise. He claimed the Star Wars one, which I was kind of bummed about, because like I love the Star Wars one. But he thought maybe we could, like, day one he does Star Wars and I do City, and then we rotate. But I think I'm just gonna let him do Star Wars, because that's what it's like being a parent. Sometimes you got to sacrifice the fun of opening Lego advent calendars so your kid can enjoy it. But yeah, I get enjoyment just out of sharing it with him. And I guess maybe if I'm going to make videos on it, I haven't decided what I want to do. We've had people request like, oh, do the advent calendar openings. I think it gets to be a little too much. It might be fun to do like a super cut of just all these openings in like a really long video on one day, especially because I don't like spoiling it for people. In fact, we shared our opening this morning, and before we did the video, I was like, all right, peeps, if you're thinking about getting the Harry Potter advent calendar, this is a video that you need to skip, because you're about to see the first 4 days get opened right now. And that was neat, opening 4 of them up. Day one was obviously the best. I won't say, just in case you haven't seen it, or you're saving your own, you're saving it for yourself for December. But I think that was like all the Lego we did. I built my first elf set this week. It's been a fun week. I've been trying to like do more Lego stuff, dedicating time to it, because I've decided and I've determined like this Lego thing is like probably my number one passion in life, right? Like this whole room is kind of dedicated to it, as has been my life now for what it turns out to be about the last 10 years now. I looked it up yesterday. I was like, when did I start my Bricklink channel? December 1st, 2013. So we are just about 10 years in that I've been doing this Lego thing as an adult. And it's been amazing. I said in that video, it's been awesome to share this with the world and all the people that we've connected with throughout this time. But the person I connected with the most and the person I've loved sharing this with the most has been Clark, man. Like all the experiences we've had, it's been incredible. Like the time of our lives is what I would consider it. So we're like I'm carving out more time to make videos dedicated to that hobby, and I've been having a blast. I love it. So more Legoing to come, of course. You'll be seeing a lot. Not only will you be seeing Greg the reseller and eBay yard sale hunter, but also the Lego detector himself. Just continuing on the journey that I'm already embarked on, and having fun doing it. So I do believe, though, that is all of the Legoing that we did, but there was other Lego news that happened this week, and something that I didn't realize that I used as much as I do, and that is Bricklink. If you don't know what Bricklink is, it's like a aftermarket site where, say you misplaced or lost a sale, for example, from a Lego Disney set. You can go onto Bricklink and find parts on there for whatever thing you need. So if you had a set from 1991 that was one of your childhood favorites, and you can't find the helmet that the minifig wore that was in the race car, you could go onto Bricklink, you could type that set in, or you could just look for a helmet, and then there it is. You could buy it. I use it oftentimes just to inventory sets and order pieces that I'm missing. If you get a yard sale a lot, like, and it's missing one minifig, you can go on there and get that, or a couple pieces here and there. And I really needed that this past weekend, particularly when we were doing that friend stuff, and I couldn't use it because last Friday, about this time, the site went down. Apparently it was a cyber attack. It was hacked by people demanding a ransom. I don't know where that went or what came of it, but they shut the site down just to be safe. And it was down not for like an hour, 2 hours a day. It was down like the whole week. I think it just came up like a day or two ago. But it's back now, thankfully. They made people change their passwords just to be safe. But it was kind of sucky not having that site. Like, I really do rely on that, particularly when you're doing a lot of stuff with the used Lego. Today I went on and made a new wanted list for some things that I need to complete, some sets that I got in the yard sales. But yeah, that was kind of wild, and it shows just maybe how unprepared they were for something like that, to be down that long. Could you imagine YouTube going down for 5 days, or Google going down for 5 days, or any like big site like that? Never. But yeah, I guess Lego's a little more vulnerable, but I bet you they've probably taken a lot of precautions, whereas this probably is never going to happen again. But that's this week in Lego, if you're curious. It is missing pieces after all, so we do have to talk Lego. I do have one other thing, though, this week, what I'm considering my win of the week, and that is I accomplished the mission of successfully raising chicks. That's right, my friends. The Chickions have officially moved out of the garage this week, and they are outside as of today. They're out being actual chickens. They finally, like what I did, Clark, we actually made a video of this. I don't know if it's going to turn into anything, but Clark Man filmed me carrying their chicken crate that they were living in, which is a dog crate. I call it a chicken crate because that's who it was raised in. I took that out and put it inside my regular chicken coop, and I just left them in there with the door closed for one day. So it's like, okay, they're out here. The other chickens come in there. They look in. They're like, oh, what? There's like new little chickens here. And then the little chickens are like, oh, those are like big versions of us. Okay, let's look at each other a little bit. Okay, cool. Next 2 days, I opened the door up, not only to the coop, but also to their cage, so they could potentially come outside if they wanted to. Did they? No, because, and this got me really thinking about humans too. It's like these little chickens, they've known nothing but this cage their entire lives. From the day that I brought them home, they've been in there. Other than when I've cleaned the cage out, they went into a box. They've lived in a cage or a box their whole lives. All of a sudden, this door's open. The whole world's in front of them. They could do anything, and they could go anywhere, right? Do they? No. They stay in the place that they feel safe. They don't make any moves because this is what I've known. Even if there's an awesome thing out there for me, fear keeps me and holds me back. Well, today I was like, how am I going to get these little Chickions out of here? Like, I didn't just want to like throw them in there and like, or throw them outside. Although I did test them a couple times. I put one in the grass and they run right back into the coop. I was like, I know what'll bring them out. I took their food and I put it out in the grass, and I put their water out there. And that got them curious enough that they started embarking out of the coop. And then when you know it, today, all 6 of them were out there eating the food, pecking around, doing chicken things, like doing their little scratching with their feet. And I was just like, yes. It was like this huge accomplishment for me, even though like I didn't actually like do the growing. They did the growing, but like I took these guys from a day old, like tracking them through the mail. Chickens in Ohio, you guys know that rule. Tracked in the mail, picked them up at the post office, brought them home a day old, made this whole entire like living space for them with a heat lamp, and took care of them every single day for the last 6 weeks, multiple times. all the way to the point where now they are outside and like living the life that they'll be living, hopefully for the rest of their days, which hopefully is a long time, assuming that there's no foxes and the door shuts automatically and I don't leave the doors open. It's awesome to see. So like, to me, that was like a 6-week mission that I have that I can like say that is finally accomplished, because now everything is good. I'm assuming they're going to go in tonight. Today's like the first day that they're actually out. And I did notice that they went back in the coop. So I think they realized like, this is where shelter is. That's just like an innate chicken like thing that's in their brain. They know at nighttime, we got to find shelter. We got to go somewhere. Versus like, I wanted ducks, but I found out like they're not really like that. They might just lay down in the grass, which is not good. And that doesn't work well when we go traveling and like there's no one to send the ducks in. You know what I mean? With chickens, that's just what they do. They like to be safe. And then the door automatically goes and they're closed in at night, which enables us to still have some life outside of being a farmer. So that felt really good, and that was definitely my win of the week. The Chickions successfully merging with the group, and yeah, it should be nothing but smooth sailing from here. And in like 2.5 months or so, sometime in the spring or late winter, they'll start laying eggs. So we'll have 11 chickens out there that are egg layers, and we'll be getting eggs from them, which is pretty cool. Pickled egg season will be upon us for sure. But that was my week, our week in sickness. My throat is, I'm going to have to take a quick drink here. My throat is just ruined right now. Maybe you can't tell. I guess I just got it a week later. Anyways, let's go into listener feedback, the best part of the episodes. Starting with Janelle, who is a huge supporter. Thank you, Janelle, for always being one of the first commenters on everything that we put out and always moderating my chats and doing everything for us. She says, I can definitely see the differences in the cameras. Oh yeah, I switched between the cameras. I think I can do it again if you want me to. Let's see how the other one looks. If you're listening, you're well off. I look like I've gone to heaven a little bit in this other camera. Like, how is that even possible, what the quality is? So this is what like a $70 webcam looks like, which I'm going to be putting on eBay. I have 2 of them. I gave one away to my buddy Dave. I'm putting that on eBay, but here's what it looks like. We can look at it through the bad webcam. I mean, it serves its purpose, and maybe if we like adjusted, there we go. If we just adjust the white balance down and stuff, it's not bad. But yeah, you compare that to this, night and day, my friends. So, yeah, you can definitely tell it. She says that video, I enjoyed the pumpkin video, came out about an hour before this one. She said she liked Tails. He's my favorite character. We had a few trick-or-treaters this year. I think a lot of people went trunk-or-treating, which is very boring in my book. Yeah, trunk-or-treating is like a thing where everyone just kind of rolls up and lines up and you just go down. It's super efficient in terms of trick-or-treating. You know, you just like walk down candy, 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 candy. It's like, it's kind of a win for the kids, but also not as adventurous. Like, it's fun, like going up to people's houses, you know, and like, I don't know. It's like an experience, you know, maybe I'm old school, but going to like people's houses to trick or treat is like what trick or treating is, in my opinion. Trunk or treat's cool though. It would be cool to like really score some amazing candy that way. Like you could just clear house, cause everybody's participating and everybody has candy there. So you just, in like short fashion, you get a ton of stuff. But where's the adventure? You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, I go out yard sailing. It's just like, what if everybody just had like, there's just one house, they had all this stuff like lined up there and you just went to one place and got everything you wanted. I mean, that would be kind of cool actually. But I like the hunt. I like the adventure. So I agree. Next one comes from Cyber Productions. He says, sounds like a good Halloween and score for Clark, Greg. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from on the BB gun. I would watch your videos on BB guns or pellets if you did them. I have not played Jedi Survivor yet, but I have beaten Fallen Order after 3 years. Not anything wrong with the game. It was just, I was over gaming to a degree. Tired of being constantly disappointed and comes with disaster games coming out with disaster releases and false promises along with not releasing a polished game. There's been a lot of that. There used to be a thing where if you made a video game, how it shipped out was how that game was going to be for all eternity, right? Like if you put out a Nintendo game and had like a flaw in it or a game-breaking glitch, that's just the way it was. It's almost like printing a book. If you have a typo in there, that book's going to have that in there. These days, though, with things being digital and having access to the internet, they can patch these games. So you can put out like a half-baked product and just be like, oh yeah, well, we're going to add that in later. And oftentimes games come out like as a complete flop. And then over time, they start making them better and better and better. Like I think of No Man's Sky was like that. The game Cyberpunk was like that, where the game had so much promise and then was terrible, and then they just kept working on it to make it better, which is cool. Maybe Starfield will kind of be like that too. But yeah, you can fix anything these days. Like these days, you could not even write the ending to your book essentially, and then you could be like, yeah, I'll patch the ending in later after I see what people are kind of feeling about it, and then we'll figure it out, which is kind of crap. It's like trunk or treating. It's like the gaming version of trunk or treating. See how these all come together? He says, when you spend your money on a game, it should meet your realistic expectations of the game and at least function. That changed this year with so many great games that have come out, like that are free even. Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom really reinvigorated my desire to game. Then Starfield came out, enjoying that as well, but taking my time. No worries about not reading my whole comment. It was a long one. Looking forward to whatever you post on what I sent. Trust me, it won't take up space in the house. Clark and I, we have your box. It's on Parkitect right now. We have it. I'm trying to figure out, like, when are we going to open it? Are we making our own video on it? Is it going to be part of a part of our day? Maybe we'll open it tonight. Maybe we'll just do that because it's still sitting there, and I want to do something special with it, you know? He says, looking forward to whatever you post. Okay, he said that. I really like your channels and hope to keep watching them for many years to come. Also, if you get into the Clone Wars Rebels and Tales of the Jedi, let us know on one of the channels what you thought. Probably this. He says, probably this podcast would be the best, but it wouldn't hurt to say something on Greg's World. I'm getting back into Fortnite because the OG season, playing with a friend tonight. I'm not sure when it came or is coming out, but I saw Fortnite was having a Transformer skin pack with Bumblebee. I think they already did Optimus in one season. I missed so many great skins. See you next week on another great podcast. The Bumblebee one is out because Clarkman was playing. It's like in the beginning where you're like loading up and there was Bumblebee, and I was like, oh, we were all both freaking out, and I was like, oh, I wish we had the Bumblebee skin because that thing is sweet. Oh yeah, I wanted the Terminator skins. I wanted the Arnold with like half his face blown off and stuff, but I don't want to spend money on that game, you know. It doesn't even matter, but it does look cool. And if you're going to put time into that game, it doesn't hurt to buy some skins because it's a free game, you know. And if you're like Clarkman, who's put 480 hours into Minecraft, and you say it was you in Fortnite, and you spent nothing, it really wouldn't be that bad if you spent $15 on a skin. That's just my thoughts on it. Next comment. Thank you for the comment, though. Next one comes from Jay's Hobby Reviews. He says, hey, Greg, will you be using your Pocket 3 for vlogs? I just bought a used DJI Action 2. That's like the little square one. It's a 2-year-old camera, but with the accessories are all magnetic and the quality is pretty good. How do you film vlogs in public without feeling awkward? I found it awkward at times. Any advice on that? Yeah, okay, let me answer a couple of your questions here. The Pocket 3, it's right here, by the way. But it may not be here by the end of the day. I'm actually thinking about returning it. You might be thinking, Greg, wait, you're going to return it? You love that camera. It was so cool. And it is. It's a neat camera. And I like the functions, but this camera doesn't fit into my workflow whatsoever. I just like turning it on sometimes. I film with this camera. This is, if you're listening, this is just like a regular camera with like a lens on it, a really wide lens. So that way I can capture like myself when I film myself and things that are happening around me. I like the way that this fits in my hand. I like the quality of it a lot. And it's good for like moving things around. I don't take this big camera out with me when I film out in public. I use my iPhone, and that's how I don't feel odd or awkward or anything when I go out filming in public, because I have my phone and I look just like any other person that has their phone doing whatever, whether they're making a call or looking something up or FaceTiming or whatever. I just never feel self-conscious with the phone. With action camera, even if it is like a little DJI, I would feel awkward with that because it becomes very clear that you're filming. When people know that you're filming, that's when it's like awkward-ish. But if you just have your phone and you can keep your phone kind of down low or you just hold it however, it's very unnoticeable in my opinion. So like for me, as much as like the hype on this Pocket 3 kind of got me, and I like how it can do the follow thing and the quality is good, I just don't know how I would use this for like to replace my phone, because this thing, while it's called the Pocket, it really doesn't fit in your pocket necessarily. I mean, it could, but then you have this moving gimbal that's on the top of it that rotates every time you turn it on and off. That could potentially get damaged. Like my stuff, I'm not hard on it, but as a person that films himself doing all kinds of stuff, there's oftentimes sometimes this camera is sitting on the ground. Sometimes my phone has gone for flights, you know, like it's like flight simulator over here. Bad things happen. This is a $700 camera, which kind of is another thing that kind of irks me, is the microphone. While it sounds good on the camera, The external mic, which I paid extra for to get the creator combo, along with some other things like the wide angle adapter that I'm not a huge fan of because it fisheyes everything. The microphone doesn't sound very good. The microphone on this sounds better. So I spent like this extra money to get things that I'm probably not even going to use. So for those reasons, I'm thinking like, I don't think this thing has a place. Like I haven't really used it much since I got it. I used it for Halloween when we went trick-or-treating, and I used it a couple times playing around at the end of last week. I haven't used it at all this week. Like it just doesn't fit into how I film my stuff. The other camera that I have, the big camera that I was showing here, this is the Olympus EM1 Mark II with a Leica 8 to 18 millimeter lens on it. This thing is great for what I do. Like this just works. The audio is good that comes right out of it. The lens is wide. The quality, the picture is good. That being said, there's an update to this that's coming out. That's from Lumix. That actually I think it comes out the 16th, I think, or something like that. They keep pushing it back. It's supposed to come out this Monday. I thought that just fits with what I do so much better. Like in terms of like vlogging around the house. And then my phone just works so good for when I'm out and about. So this thing, like, I feel like I fell into like the trap of like cool products, but there are people that I think this could work well for. Like if you're shooting like a walk and talk type thing where you're just like going for a hike and you have this filming you. But then again, like I would sacrifice a little bit of quality just to get an action camera because then it can go through so much. Like this thing's not waterproof. I can't take this down a slide. I can't take it to the water park. I wouldn't want to take it to the beach and then get sand and stuff in all the turning parts. For me, in my situation, I don't think that is the camera for me. So for those reasons, I'm out. And I think I'm going to return it to Best Buy. Get my $700 back, and then I'll buy a driving simulator with it. Or I'll put it towards the replacement camera for this, which I'm even debating about doing that because this camera here I love. And oh man, those chickens, taking care of them, I got like all kinds of dust and stuff like in the ridges of this. The replacement camera for this that I'm looking at is like $1,900. So I'm thinking like, will I get $1,900 of extra value or quality out of this upgraded camera? And the answer is probably no. Like there hasn't been a single soul, at least as far as I know. No one's commented like the quality of this sucks. You need a new camera. Why does this look like a potato? Have I ever lost a viewer because of the quality? I highly doubt it. So what's the reason that I would upgrade? Debatable. But, Black Friday's coming up. We'll see what happens. But I do think that the Pocket 3 is going to go back. I just don't think, like, my vlogging style, like, I just think I'm so much better with, like, an action-style camera for extreme events or something where I need stability, like hiking. And I think for just being at home vlogging and making Lego videos and stuff, I think a traditional camera like this just suits me so much more. So there's the very, very long answer to your very simple question. But as for feeling awkward, just use your phone. Whatever you got, if you're going out in public, just use your phone. Next one comes from KZTTYT. It's like reading an eye test. He says, so glad Clark had a great Halloween. We had a blast. After an hour, buckets were full. Same. Turns tons of people out in a haunted house. Felt like old school Halloween days. Kids had a blast. Can't wait to see your vlog. I hope you liked it. But I'm glad you guys had fun and your trick-or-treating night was all that you could have imagined. Next one comes from Jim. Who says a gob. I had no idea what a gob is. He says a gob is a round devil dog. What's a devil dog? I need like a Pittsburgh definition of all these things. He says, I think we live in the same neighborhood separated by 3 hours. No kids on Halloween. People giving out handfuls of candy. This one lady who had 6 buckets and made our kids take a handful from each bucket. Eerily similar. We also had so much left over in the bowl we had put in front of our house. We had so much stuff we don't know what to do with it, hoping to find some donation center. Dude, I know what you can do with all that candy, Jim. You sit down, put some Better Call Saul on, and just start pounding down some Kit Kats and some Twix, some Snickers, and you just live your life, man. Then next week, don't get on the scale. Life advice. But I am going to need a follow-up on this next week. We now know what a gob is, which is a round devil dog. But what is a devil dog? So we need the next level of the translations here. Next one comes from Sam. He says, happy Wednesday in my time. Halloween is always such a fun holiday. I love seeing kids running around with their cute little costumes. In past Halloweens, I typically handed out candy. This year, I didn't have the motive to. This is mainly because my friends stopped coming because they, like me, are getting older. Okay, I'm going to have to ask you guys and people with kids that are older than mine, what is the year that you stopped trick-or-treating? Because I'm like worried that we don't have many more years of this left. And I'll talk more about that in an upcoming comment. He says, my mom is an elementary school teacher, so a majority of the older kids just want to see her anyways, so I let her have the job this year. I can almost guarantee you guys will be rolling those pumpkins down the hill, and I can't wait to see that when the time arises. Have a glorious rest of your week. Sam, it's been a little warm here lately, and those pumpkins are starting to look a little bad. Like the teeth are not looking good, the mouths are sinking in, so it won't be long until the great Dune Drop roll of 2023 hits, and we'll for sure make a video. Dude, I should put one of my action cameras. I only have one left. I just have my GoPro because I sold my other one. eBay's taking everything. I'll put it inside the pumpkin. How cool would that be? And then just roll it down and the camera's just flipping around in there and stuff. That might be neat. I got to do that. Thank you for the comment, and I'm glad your mom had fun doing Halloween. Maybe you should go out trick-or-treating and then bring it back, man. Bring it back. Next one comes from G Family. It says, here to report that Tails is quite a hit in the New York metro area. Seen a good number of Bowser, Mario, Luigi as well, and Chucky has been making a comeback. Chucky's creepy, dude. Have you ever thought about wearing a costume while trick-or-treating? I seen Halloween vid, and it seems like no adult does. Mind you, before kids, I said never me, but my town has a Halloween parade, trunk-or-treat, and various other activities, which made me buy a costume by default. Now I have my child because all adults get dressed up on Halloween. Just a curiosity question. Great vlogs, Greg. Yeah, dude, I'm glad you mentioned this because I have nothing but regrets for not getting dressed up, particularly this year where Clarkman was Tails. I should have 100% been Sonic. How funny would that be? But it's like, I'm just like filming Clark's experience. And like, I guess if Cody was like the filmer and like she filmed us doing it, it would probably make sense. But like, I would just be like a Sonic with a camera. But yeah, when in my life am I ever going to have an excuse to get dressed up again? You know? And like all these years, like last year, Clarkman was Captain America. I could have been Iron Man or whatever. When he was a dinosaur, I could have been Owen. Or Grant from Jurassic Park. When he was Batman, I could have been Joker. Like, we could have played off each other all these years, but it's never too late. Like, next year, Clarkman's going to be 9. Why don't we do a tag team thing? I should be Darth Maul, and he could be Obi-Wan. And then we do, like, an epic lightsaber battle. Or what could we do in Star Wars? What would be a good one? He definitely fits the Anakin mold. I could be Qui-Gon. I'll let my beard grow in my hair. I'll be Qui-Gon, and he's Anakin. And Cody could be Padme. That'd be pretty fun. Cody could be Jabba the Hutt. No, I didn't say that. No one send this to her. I'm kidding. I'll be Jabba the Hutt. She could be Slave Leia. And then Clark can be Luke Skywalker. We have so many options. Let us know what we should be next year. It doesn't have to be Star Wars. It could be anything. Thank you for the comment and the good laugh. That's probably going to get me punched out later. Next one comes from Journal of the Scots, who has moved over from Ronnie's podcast over to mine. I guess he's just given up. Welcome. Thanks for having you. Thanks for you being here. Thanks for having me. I don't know, whatever it is. He says, space is a huge struggle. He just left again. He's like, I'm out of here. Space is a huge struggle, but breaking down and organizing is key. I'm only allowed a corner of the playroom to build and hold my collection. Oh, man, corner of the playroom. What you need to do is start sneaking over a little bit. You know, like right today it's a quarter, but then you'll start moving it out, and then it becomes like a side. You know, you go from corner to side, and then you go from like most, and then you go to all. The playroom just becomes yours, and the whole space is your operation. We got to go for world domination here, starting with one little square foot at a time in the playroom. I'm sure the kids won't mind. Thank you for commenting, and thanks for being here. There, I got it. Next one comes from A Blind Man's Life. He says, hey there, Greg. I'm back for another week of podcasting. Thank you for coming back. You're what we call in the biz a survivor. At least that's what I call people on my channel that somehow make it through more than one video. He says, I like the comparison of the two camera differences. You learn something new every day. Can't blame me for skipping Solo. I love Star Wars, but that was one movie I did not enjoy. I saw it in 2018 and have not seen it since. I too have a dream of having my own little museum with all my different collections. It would most likely be for my eyes only, unless I have friends come over, or if I make videos for my collectibles channel. Right now, everything in my bedroom is Right now, everything is in my bedroom in my parents' house. But one day I hope to have a big enough basement to display everything. That way I don't have to have a giant bed in the middle of the room. But you have to start somewhere. True. He says, win of the week. I have finished the Lego modular police station. It only took 19 months, I think. My friend and I finished it yesterday and has been placed in my Lego city. Hope the week goes well for you, and I look forward to the next podcast. Congratulations, sir, on completing a Lego set. 19 months isn't that long. I've been working on Ninjago City Gardens longer than that, and it's still not done. So don't you even feel bad about that. You finish things in your own time whenever you feel the need to, and it's awesome that you did it with a friend. And now it's like an accomplishment. You know, it's like the Chickions moving out into the chicken yard. That's you. That's your win. You got the modular done. It's out there like scratching around in your Lego city. It's pecking things, I'm assuming. Yeah, it's great. It's integrated with the other Lego modulars. They've kind of looked at each other a little bit. You open the cage door, and now you've got a full-grown Lego city. Congrats. He's like, I'm out of here. I'm not coming back next week either. This is how I lose all my listeners. Sorry, guys. Next one comes from Jennifer. On the topic of organization, Jennifer says, these 2 books have helped us with the space problem. Organizing for the Rest of Us, 100 Realistic Strategies to Keep Any House Under Control by Dana K. White. I wonder what Dana would think of my place. Send Dana into the storage room. She'd probably have a heart attack. The other book, though, is Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing by Marie Kondo, who I believe has her own Netflix show. After I finish Better Call Saul, maybe I better call Marie Kondo and then have her give me some tips on how I need to take care of things. I think I've seen one of the episodes, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. I'm not there right now, but those books would probably help. Especially Marie Kondo's, especially if I can watch it instead of read it. We have a thank you for commenting and the recommendation. I'm sure that could help not just me, but many other people out there, because we all battle space, I think, in the organization. We have another win of the week, and possibly the winnest win of the week. But before I read this, I want to give a shout out to 2 of the biggest supporters on any of my channels, Ray and Bobby. Ray Witten and No Dig Garden Channel, easy for me to say. They left some super sweet, nice comments that I'm just too embarrassed to even read here, because they're like just nothing but like kind and just thoughtful. And I'm reluctant to read those kind of things here because it just feels narcissistic. And Bobby's comments even like kind of goes into that and says I should not feel that way, but I do. If you guys would like to read what Bobby and Ray each wrote, you can look back on episode 184. Some very sweet guys there and super encouraging. In fact, Ray, every one of our videos, if you ever needed somebody in your life to push you forward, Ray is that guy. Ray's that guy in your life. If you have a YouTube channel and you're thinking like, oh man, I don't know if I want to keep going. Ray's going to come over there. He's going to comment and you're going to be like, I'm going full time. Like he's that dude. And Bobby's he's just a sweet dude too. I love his channel. No Dig Garden Channel. Go back and you can sub to him. He's a good dude. In fact, I will link it. Gosh, am I going to remember to do this? I'll link it in a comment down below so we can get Bobby some subs. You guys can learn how to garden along with me. He actually gave me some advice this week too, to take my old chicken poo in like the bedding and stuff and throw it in the garden. I did it. So maybe next year I'll have like some banging vegetables thanks to our boy Bobby, who not only leaves good comments, but also great advice in the world of gardening. But on that, enough me hyping those guys up. They hype me up enough. I got to hype them back. We got Tracy, longtime survivor and repeat offender, with the ultimate win of the week. She says, I finally bought a house after years of working towards it. Tracy's gone on a whole journey with us here. I remember when she was trying to become a teacher and did that. And then like she's getting a house, like things are just falling in place here. Finally bought a house after years of working towards it. We had saved so many things in our tiny apartment in case we needed them for the house, for thinking we would have more room in the house. This made the apartment feel smaller and take more work to keep clean. Now that we're moving, we'd be able to get rid of so much stuff that, and I have to fight the feeling, feeling guilty for not doing it sooner. There's no better day than today. She says, I've also gone through a similar process as I've seen you go through. I don't need all the things anymore, just those that bring the most enjoyment and are being used. It is freeing to let it go and see our home be set up in a healthy way. Hard to let go of feeling like I wasted so much time, space, and energy before. Well, you know what, Tracy? We're not worried about what happened before. I have a storage room of doom. Every day it gets a little lighter because I'm selling stuff and getting rid of things that aren't serving me. And you're doing the same thing. Who cares what happened in the past? Who cares what happened yesterday? It's all about today. It's about this week. And what are we going to do this week? What goals do we have for ourselves, brothers and sisters? I'm preaching to you guys as the sun starts glistening in on me and ruining my shot here. But I'll say this. We do have this week ahead of us between this podcast and the next, whenever you're listening to this. Decide, just like me, like what is it I want to do and how can I get closer to that? How can I have no 0 days? It doesn't matter if it's just a little teensy little step forward, or it could be something big. But if it is just a little thing, just imagine what 7 little things look like over the next week. Then imagine doing that again the next week. And you just keep going with that. You go places. You get your own house. You accomplish things. It's awesome to see. And I'm very thankful that you guys tuned in this week. That's also awesome to see. Thank you for the listener feedback. It makes these episodes, I think, at least, if I had to put a number on it, probably at least 413 times better, rather than just hearing me talk about how everyone in my house is sick and we built some Lego and we watched some shows and played some games and I wanted a driving simulator. Who cares about any of that? It's about what you guys have to say. Unless you're just going to hype me up, then I just can't. I just can't. But I do appreciate it. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and gals. I hope you have a glorious week this week, regardless of what it is that you do with it. And I hope to find you in the next Missing Pieces.